Welcome to Heart to Heart with Saima. Um, every week, Tuesday, 4 p.m., the intention is to just come out here, interact with people, to have some fun, to touch some lives, and hopefully to impact lives. Um, that is simply the reason why I started doing this is I feel that this is an opportunity to put our voice out there and to touch people, to do something good in life. I feel we are all here for some reason, and we do spend most of our lives searching for the purpose, searching for why we are really on this earth, besides our struggles and endeavors to be rushing, doing things, having kids, growing kids, taking care of families. But there's just got to be some more reason. And so I figured by bringing in different people, people who are ordinary people doing extraordinary things, it gives me an opportunity to learn something more about myself, and hopefully in this process find my own purpose. With that, I'm going to bring my guest on. Her name is Annie Leib, and I'm going to bring her on. So,
hello.
Annie, welcome. Thank you for being a part of Heart to Heart with Saima. I like to bring in, like I said earlier, ordinary people doing extraordinary things, trying to live their lives to their fullest, trying to be authentic, be unapologetically yourself, and being true to yourself, because I feel that is the essence of living this life. So Annie, I will let you go ahead and introduce yourself and tell us about you.
Hi, Saima, thank you so much for having me today. I am so honored to be here. And I just went off the screen. I think there I am. Okay. So I'm so thrilled to be here. Oh, that's really cool, that background. And I am, among other things, I'm a mom, an executive. I'm a pharmaceutical consultant, a business lifestyle consultant, and I host a podcast called Living with Annietude. I also do another one with a partner, Living with Annietude Conversations with Mike, on Friday nights at 10. But this one that I do is basically about, like everything that you just said. It's living your best life. Annietude is a cute play on words, and it goes with my name. And that's how it kind of started. Annietude, attitude, right? But it's way more than that. So it's more than a tagline. It's more than just a word. It's a way of life that I live and breathe each day. And the best way to explain it is just trying to be my best self and putting my best self forward to the universe each day, doing the next best thing, living a clean, toxin-free life, helping others, healing others, being a servant leader to others. And that is the best way I can describe it. I have a business that I've started based on Living with Annietude. It's at annieleib.com if anyone wanted to see it, but it's a business lifestyle consultant. And what I do is I meet with professionals, and I meet with, sometimes they'll refer me to their teams, and I'll meet with their teams, and we'll sit down and we'll talk about what is slowing them down, what's bogging them down. If you look around, something that you mentioned that I think was so important was everyone is just going, and COVID has changed this a little bit. But pre-COVID, everyone was just going and going and going. And oftentimes you miss life when you do that because you're not centered, you're not in the present, you're worried about the future, and you're worried about, a lot of times the past is bogging you down. So you're never really in now. And what I try to do in my business is figure out the roots of those issues and why we're not, and when I say we as the collective we, we're not in the now. Why? What's bogging us down? Is it home stuff? Is it work stuff? Is it both? How can we make your life healthier and professionally and personally, and detox in such a way that you will feel more energized, be more productive, and be able to live your best life? And a lot of that what goes hand in hand with that is oftentimes helping and healing others. So that's what I bring to the table, and that is a living with Annietude. And then on the podcast, which I can talk to you about, as we talk about living with Annietude, and I too bring on guests that are doing important things, and we talk about how in their life living with Annietude is reflected and how they do it. And then we sort of see how we align, and we try to empower others and bring some sort of value to the table, because we each, like you said, it's so important what you said, we each have value and everyone should have a voice. There's not more important people than others. And especially in today's day and age, with everything going on in our world and especially in our country, with racism and all of the issues that we deal with, and the divisive nature of the way things are and have been more recently. And I think it's really important that we band together and we heal and help one another. And that's what I'm trying to do every day.
So how exactly, what made you come up with this idea of Annietude, and what made you feel that this was something that, a lot of us, we think thoughts, we make plans, but we are not able to execute.
Yes.
And execution is key, because you can keep attaining degrees and knowledge and keep educating yourself. But at the end of the day, execution is the key to, you have to put those thoughts into formation in order for it to impact the world, for it to impact the people.
And,
so
and
how
I think,
did you execute?
I think you're so spot on that a lot of people have this idea and a lot of people have this in their heart, but to take action is a little bit, is risky and it's scary. And a lot of people don't feel the value and the worth that they carry. So they don't really realize what they can bring to the table and how they can impact others, not easily, but it's so at our fingertips to do each day. So what happened was, I've lived many lives. I've been to hell and back a couple of times, and I'm here to tell you that I'm a survivor and a warrior. And the reason that I can say that so confidently is because of what I've been through and where I've come from and what I've seen and who I've helped and who's helped me. So part of my mission in this life is to influence and impact others. And how this began was, I was feeling really pushed down at work. I was in pharmaceutical sales and business development, and I was feeling sort of just in this box. And I don't do really well in a box. I am a little bit sassy and a little bit anti-authority, and I like to push the envelope, and I like to be innovative and ask questions and be curious. And sometimes exactly, that's why you're doing this show. And a lot of times what I've found is certain companies, certain leaders don't like that. They like you to be the way they want you to be. And you
be subservient.
And not to ask questions and just to conform. And I'm not a conformist. I'm very accommodating, and I'm a people pleaser, and I like when people are happy and there's harmony, but I'm not a conformist. So I decided, my mentor said to me, you really need to go back to school. It's funny that you mentioned a degree. And I went back and I got my Executive MBA. And it was the hardest thing, and I've been through a lot, like I said, the hardest thing that I've ever done in my life. I was engaged at the time. I'm no longer engaged. We broke it off. But the reason I'm saying that is because we had 4 kids at home under 10 during this time. While we were working and I was going to school, between going to classes at night, having teamwork, doing side projects, whatever the case was, doing kid schedules, it was insane. I don't recommend it to anybody that is not willing to turn their life over. And so what I bring to the table is someone on the other side. I've seen myself transform. I've seen myself go from having little worth and self-esteem, even if I portrayed like I did, it wasn't true worth. And I've seen myself transform into someone that feels important and feels like I have value to bring to others. And part of that, what's that?
And you're worth it.
Well, yes, we all are.
Yeah.
But when you're not, when you're either not taught that, or you're taught that in funny ways, or you don't pick up the message that's given to you, whatever it is, most of us need to do things in our life, not just be told that we're great, but do things to make us feel great, and do things that help others and push forward, and also help others move forward in order to feel the greatness that we each have in us. And what I did was, going through that 20-month program, I saw myself transform. I saw myself evolve, and we had a cohort. And what I saw was, well, what I heard was, and what I saw was that I was the counselor in the group. I was the one that, I wasn't the valedictorian. I wasn't the top of the class, but I was the one, and this is what I was told in feedback sessions, that was holding everyone together, that was keeping everybody okay, that made sure everyone was all right, that fixed problems when there were problems, that made sure everyone felt important. And when that was said to me in retrospect, telling me in feedback sessions, I thought, you know what? This is who I am. So I might as well turn this
into your purpose.
This is my purpose. This is my mission. Yeah. There's a way that I make people feel, and I'm not blowing smoke. I will tell people what their strengths are. I will find them. We will find them together, and we will highlight them, and we will make them empowered. And, there was just a little bit of that in school, but I've sort of honed in on this skill. And in doing that, it's really empowering and strengthening to people. And so my whole thing was like, I need to do something with this. So I said, like, oh, that's a bad Annietude one day. And somebody said to me, you need to make that a hashtag. And I thought, wait a minute. That's not just a word. That's my brand. That's who I am. I live and breathe this. I live and breathe to make others feel stronger and better, to a fault sometimes. And so I've had to turn this around on me too, and pursue my strengths and be able to see my value along with others' value. And in doing that, in my healing of others, I heal myself. So my mission is to make that impact and to make people stronger and better, and be more of who they really are versus what others want them to be. So that's why I decided I'm going to leave corporate America and start this consultancy that's going to do this as a business, because people make businesses and money from YouTube, playing Fortnite on YouTube and having people watch them. So if they can do that, and they can do unboxing videos of makeup and products that they buy, and that makes money, then I'm going to monetize, and I'm going to use my purpose and my passion to create a business. And so that's what I've done.
And that is exactly what I was talking to someone who has become a huge. He's become someone huge and he's a young boy, just 22 years old, but has become a huge personality of LinkedIn, and with his podcast, having like over 600 podcasts, and he was like, this is where I started when I was 18 years old. And when I was starting my first podcast, it was just starting. The purpose was to find myself. And by bringing the different people on there, and 600 podcasts means 600 guests, spending that one-on-one time with different people, getting to know people, engage with them, and having heart-to-heart conversations, it gives you a chance to find yourself in that process.
Absolutely. It's such a healing and introspective experience to learn from others and what they're doing, and to, like I said before, to hone in and find their strengths. And when you see somebody become stronger because of the influence that you've had, when you see someone say, or when you hear, I couldn't have done this without you, and they mean it, and when you can be a healer, and I feel very deeply, I'm an empathic soul, so I feel other people's pain and problems, and I'm a fixer. I want to fix things, and I'm very solution oriented. So people are oftentimes, like you said, they don't take action.
Yeah.
And that's such a big point that you made, because part of the hard part of the work I do is getting people to take the action. They can listen all day long and they can agree with me, but there's a way to frame things and a way, and I don't know if this is teachable or if I learned it or if this is just me, but there's a way to see inside someone that I am able to do, where I know that if we can highlight what they're good at, and we can get their brain to reframe around, I stink at this, I'm not good enough for this, I can't do that, and reframe into, yes, I can, because I have this, this, and this. If I'm able to highlight those strengths, we can get them to take action. We can get them to feel important and worthy.
Annie, I think it's just very, very important to maybe even take a piece of paper and write down your own strengths and your weaknesses. And then, list your strengths and focus on where you can utilize your strengths. And then list your weaknesses and figure out who you need to collaborate with, surround yourself with people who have more of what you're lacking in,
and complement you with their strengths.
Complement yourself, fill in your own holes, what is missing in your own life. Surround yourself with those mentors, read about it. I feel everything is there on the internet now. We are in that time and age, in that era where accessibility to information, everything is out there, including Khan Academy, which gives education for free, right? So It's all there.
I love Khan Academy. I actually prepped on Khan Academy before my MBA because I was like, I haven't been in school in 20 years. How am I going to do this? I love I give them money whenever I have extra. Like, I love them. He's a great, amazing, incredible man. So I hear you, and I agree with you. There are so many resources online, and there's really no excuse to, you can find strengths finder tests and all those things. The one piece where I think that there's a gap, and that's why I started this business, was when you do that yourself, oftentimes you see a one-dimensional perspective. And when you see that voice in your mind that says, I can't, or maybe you look at it and you say, I'm really, really, really stubborn. I'm just a stubborn person. I need to surround myself with people that aren't stubborn. I might actually talk to you for a while and find out that you're actually just somebody that really perseveres in an extreme way. So it's a different way to look at stubbornness, is somebody that's determined and that perseveres, right? So someone might call me stubborn, but there's no telling me no when I want something, right?
Yeah, so like you said, there's a different perspective. It can be viewed as being, just...
And that's the gap. And oftentimes, you can assess yourself for sure. There's self-assessments, there's tools, there's all kinds of things that you can get online, and everything is at our fingertips, right? But when you have a professional that's been through the thick of things, I find it, at least for me, I find it to be more, it resonates a little bit more, because my mind tells me things that other people see it differently sometimes. Like, I just hear that voice and it comes back now, as strong as I am now. It comes back and it tells me I can't. It comes back and it gets in my head and it tells me and it mixes me up. And I need somebody that has done this,
that those thoughts, right?
Yes, that can say, I've been there. Yeah. And I always say this, and I've said this to my children, and I've said this to friends, and I say it to clients. There is not a lot of situations that you could tell me about where, and I'm not going to say I can always relate, but there are not a lot of situations in your life that I can't understand. Doesn't mean I'll have had the exact situation, but with the depth that I feel as an empath and my business experience, it's like there's something that comes together where I just can pinpoint what it is they're feeling. At least that's been my experience with my clients. And that's what makes it so rewarding, because together we can get to a place where you can't find on the internet yourself. There was a lot you could find, and you get to a certain point, and that's wonderful. And that's awesome. But sometimes, like you said, like you noted in the beginning, people taking action, sometimes you need a little kick. Sometimes you need a little boost.
There's no count. I mean, I have a women empowerment group, and it has over 2,500 women. It's a close-knit kind of a circle. There are times when I get messages from women and they're talking about, they're educated, they're smart, they're working, making excellent money, but they're going through, they're being abused by their spouse. And they just don't have the courage to come out because their self-esteem has been damaged so severely. It's very difficult to just see things. You might need someone to come there and hold your hand and guide you.
Yeah, and from the outside, when things all look good to others, and when you put out that picture, whether it's on Facebook or Instagram or whatever people do, when they paint that picture, it's oftentimes harder to come forward because you have this picture painted and it's what people think of you, and it's this way, and there's all this stuff going on behind the scenes. And I would start with that person and we would talk about gratitude. We would talk about, and we would get to the bottom of the self-worth, because that's what that comes from, is a lack of self-worth. And again, that all funnels back to my strengths finding and honing in on their skills and strengths, because you can have a job title, like you said before, you can have a degree, you can do everything in the world and do everything as a mother and a friend and a daughter and a wife and still not feel good enough. Because oftentimes we're looking for the external to fill us when the void is inside us. So we need to turn
inside us.
Yes, we need to turn the lens inward. And that's where I come in, and that's where I help. That's living with Annietude, being able to turn the lens inward, if that makes sense.
It does. Annie, what do you feel about, so I do a lot of self-reflection. And I continuously tell people, I don't know if you know Kelly Blackburn, but yes, so he's wonderful, and he recently did my interview, and I think it was that first time that I actually just spoke about my journey and my life, and the different trials and tribulations that I've gone through in my life. And actually, being a realtor, I think, and I've been one for 15 years, a lot of, what we put out there on social media, it does give people the impression that that my life is just perfect and it has just amazing. And one of the reasons being that I love to travel, so I do. When I don't know what the hell to do, I just go and I travel. Mm-hmm. So, but I always keep coming back, and I always say that I'm the first person to say that my life is imperfect. I have my own highs and lows, my own failures, downfalls. There have been the good moments, but there have been the bad and the difficult moments as well. Countless questions I have no answers to. I'm still searching for these answers and putting it out there. I think the one thing that I do have, I have courage. I have that courage to put it out and to just take a deep breath and to just, I am open. I will talk about my life, my things, highs, lows. I think people need to be able to, people need to find that inner courage to just be authentic, because once you let it all out and it's all out there, then you know what? There are no more facades that you have to.
Exactly.
You have to, you can be yourself. Yeah. Because at that point, you have become so liberated, and you're like, you know what? I just don't give.
Yeah, and when you find that true, that is what you just described, living in authenticity, living in realness, living your truth is living with Annietude. So that's, it's a tagline, right? And it's like cute and it goes with my name, but it's really true, because if it's something that you can, we're all works in progress. So you say, I've had up, I've had down, I've had, my highs and lows and, my good times and bad. I mean, that's what makes you rich as a person. That's what makes you an empathic soul. That's what makes you have compassion for others. I don't think there's a perfect life. I think there's a perspective on life. I think there's a way to look at things and way to reframe things. And I think also, this is important. I think there's sometimes when you just say, this stinks. Right now stinks. Yeah. What just happened stinks. Instead of, let's be all peachy cream about it and everything's nice. Let's be real about it. This happened and this hurts. Now let's feel it. Let's go through the feelings. Let's accept it that it happened and let's move on. And there's a lot of acceptance and there's forgiveness and there's a lot of different steps when it comes to self-reflection, which I'm sure you're
Isn't that difficult, Annie? Because I know for myself, I'm like, you know what? So I'm the opposite. And I think that actually hurts you when I have always told myself, get over it. Mm-hmm. Get over it. You know what? Get up. Yeah. Just go. And what I did discover was, when you do that, that's actually wrong because you keep just suppressing it. And a few months back, my daughter pointed something out to me and she said, Mom, you're not a good communicator. You don't communicate. You have to, if you don't tell us what is wrong, but you're just assuming that we should automatically, put our dishes in the dishwasher.
Right. And then you take it personally if they don't, and you're like mad about it, but you don't want to say it. Yeah, it's really, life is hard. Okay. Life is really hard. Communication is hard. And relationships are hard. And conflict pops up a lot. And a lot of people, most people think that conflict is bad. And we can't say our feelings because then it might upset someone. We can't be angry because you're not allowed to be angry. We were told when we were little, you don't act like that. You don't, and I think a lot of what you're saying reminds me of, and you do have courage. Absolutely. We have courage because we get up every day and we do what we do. So that's courageous, first of all. But secondly, we have to have self-compassion. So self-compassion is looking inward and saying, it's okay that you feel those things. It's okay that you're not the best communicator. It's okay that you could be better at A, B, or C. It's okay that you're down on yourself. It's okay that for years and years you said, just get over it. That's your coping mechanism. That's what you did for years. The fact that you're looking at it now and reflecting and saying, I don't really want to do that anymore. You have to love yourself like you love your best friend, like you love your child. You have to speak to yourself. That voice in your head needs to be how you would speak to your best friend. Would you ever say, get the hell over it to your best friend? I mean, maybe, eventually, if you're joking around or if you get to a point where you can't take it anymore. But for the first 10 times, I would say, let's talk about this. It's okay that you're feeling that way. Let's have some understanding that you're upset over this for this reason, compassion, right?
Compassion for yourself.
Self-compassion, the same way you have it for your best friend.
Yeah.
The same way, we speak to ourselves so poorly in ways that we would never speak to our loved ones. Yeah. And if we can retrain and reframe and reprogram that voice in our head to speak inward to ourselves and say, it's okay. That's not a cop-out. That's not saying it's okay and you're allowed to be lazy. It's saying right now where we are right this second is okay. Someone said this to me the other day and I've heard it before. I don't know if you've heard this, but it's so simple, but you've survived every single day. Every single thing that you've been through, you've survived and you're here today. So every trial and tribulation and every hard thing that you've gone through and every fall and every fail you have come back from. Think about that. Who's courageous and who's strong? You are.
Yeah.
So am I. And so is everybody because they've survived up until this time. Have they been the healthiest that they could have been? Maybe not. Have they done things always the way that they should have or wanted to or want to live their best life? Maybe not. But we have today to fix those things. And we can reframe things, not just on a case-by-case basis, but on an overall perspective, this overarching view of living your best life and putting your best foot forward and helping others and healing others. We can do that to heal ourselves.
And I think that's very, I mean, that's such a, such a strong perspective to accept yourself just the way you are. I mean, to get through the things that we get through in life, it takes so much courage, continuous growth, and it's okay. It's okay for you to fail. It's okay for you to fail in life. It's okay for you to fail in marriage. It's okay for you to fail as a sibling. It's okay for you to fail as a child. I do strongly feel, Annie, that we have come into this world, whether it's your gender, whether no matter what it is, you have come into this world to be your authentic self.
Yes.
If our creator did not want us to be the way they are, then why would the creator have made us the way we are?
Well, and I agree with you. And we are, but I also think there's a caveat to that. I think that there's a finding your authentic self, and it's a work in progress, and it's a practice every day. So I try to model the way. I try to model the way for my friends and family and my children. I try to be the best I can be, but every day, I mean, I'm far from perfect. Yeah. I make mistakes. I have mishaps. I say something I shouldn't have. I react in a way that I wish I hadn't. But all I have to be my truest and most authentic self is to reflect on that and say, okay, that's okay. And now moving forward, I'm going to try my best to react, respond differently, or act in a different way. And all we have is right now. We can't, so people walk around with these, this is what I mean by toxins that I try to rid them of. They walk around with these cloak. That was like when I was in my most dark time in my life. That's what it felt like to me. Like I was wearing this weighted cloak of darkness over me. And I saw in black and white. I didn't even see in color anymore when I was really down. Like that's how bad it was. And the way that I got rid of that, the way that I shed that weight and that cloak was to do the work and to really look at myself, not to blame and not to shame, but to take responsibility. I'm here right now because of some of the things that I've done. And also some things have happened to me, right? But I'm not the victim. And what I have control over is right here, right now. And then there's a lot around us that we don't have control over. There's a lot that we have to just let go. And that's really hard, especially for type A people, you know, that want to control every nuance so that they can get the outcome that they want. So there's a real, and you said it best, you said, sometimes I just take a breath. And that is courageous. That's not weak, that's strong, that's strength, and that's courage to be able to say, you know what, right now, I just need to center. Like, I can't do all this right now. This is too much for me. Or I don't like the way I was acting today. I need to be better. When I put my head on the pillow tonight, I'm going to think about ways I can be better tomorrow. And I'm going to make a gratitude list about the things that are good about me and the things that I have good in my life.
And focus on that.
Yes. But that doesn't mean ignore the things that you want to, the areas that you want to develop too. So there's a lot of perspective, right? It's like the most important thing I think I've said this entire time was not to blame yourself. Because taking responsibility and taking action is very different than blaming and shaming yourself. You stupid idiot. I can't believe you did this again. You screwed this up. You're never going to get it right. These are voices that I've had in my head. And then the reframe and eventually the practice is, I didn't do it my best that time.
And the biggest one, what will people say?
Oh, yes. And there's such a profound and also a very thin line between caring what people think too much and then putting your best self forward and getting a response from people that's positive. And that's okay if you need some affirmation. It's okay if you like words of recognition. It's okay if sometimes it makes you feel good because you got good feedback at work, or your husband gives you a compliment, or your daughter says you're the best mom in the world. That's all right. Like, it does matter what people think to a certain extent. It's when other people's thoughts and feelings impact what you do and who you are on a daily basis. That's the difference to me. So when other people's opinions are making me not be my truest, most authentic self and put my best foot forward.
When it's impacting my life, right?
Right.
When other people's opinions are impacting, making us feel that we're not worthy, that, you know, we're wrong and we are not doing the right thing. And,
right.
You know.
Well, and I think that happens to a lot of people. And I think that that's also very normal. And you should also say to yourself, that's okay. This hurts. Somebody said something not nice, that hurts. And that's okay. Don't blame yourself or shame yourself for being affected by what other people think. I think, again, to go back to what we said from the beginning, is the internal lens. So turning that, forget what he or she said or what he or she did. It's all about looking at, what am I doing? What am I doing to feel good about myself? Because he shouldn't be able to make me feel not worthy, right? But I mean, he does. So there's some work I need to do. That's the way my mind works now. You know, that's making me feel unworthy. And I don't know why. Let me take a look at that.
You've trained your mind to start, you've changed your thought process, your mindset,
yes,
the way you are perceiving things. So you mindfully made those changes.
Well, it's a growth mindset, right? Like, you have to be open to growth. And I don't want anyone listening or watching to think, oh, she has it all together and she thinks she knows everything, because trust me, I'm learning each day. I'm learning from you as we sit here and talk. You know, I mean, there's no I know it all. And there's no, I've reached the point of like, I'm perfect and I have it all together. Like, each day is a lesson. Each day is a practice. There's no game that I'm trying to get to. So I'm practicing. This is the game, right? It's practice each day. And being able to make a mistake and say it, own up. You know, I shouldn't have acted that way. I was jealous. I acted, or, you know, I reacted and I was displacing that onto you and it wasn't about you, or whatever it is. Take responsibility and then you can let it go. But like you said, if you let things stay here and they weigh you down, they build up and they start to weigh, that cloak and that weight on you is so heavy that it starts to come out in other ways, whether it's weight or basic mood swings, sleeping, fatigue. You know, there's so many things that I do and I look at when I talk to a client. There's a way of life. That's what I mean when I say living with Annietude, that I try to focus on so that we can try to reprogram together. And in doing that, I heal and reprogram myself each day. So it's all a practice. There's no Super Bowl of life. It's just.
And you said something really key. You said acceptance. I mean, you know, like looking at yourself, recognizing the mistakes that you're making. So self-reflection. Mm-hmm. If you're feeling the emotions that you're feeling, jealousy, envy, these are some of the key emotions, hatred, love,
anger,
resentment, anger. How do you tackle these different emotions?
Well, I think the first step is always going to be awareness. So it's always going to be, because a lot of times we'll say like, I'm so angry, you know, I'm so angry at her. And it's like, let's dig a little deeper into what that's about, because oftentimes anger is covering up a lot of other emotion. A lot of times it covers up hurt and sadness. So somebody might come off angry and that's the way they present, but really underneath they're hurt because they, for whatever reason, they're hurt. So awareness of what you're really feeling. So really taking inventory of what it is that you're truly feeling. It doesn't mean, and what you do to get to that point, to answer your question, is there's a.
How do you get to that point, right? Because
for me to
just sit here, right, and think, okay, you know what? I saw my friend, and I said something nasty to her, and the reason I looked at my friend and I said, you know, it's something so ugly you're wearing. But maybe inside I was actually jealous because she might have been just wearing average clothes, but she's going to the gym, she's looking
She's
fit, she's
looking
taking
good,
care of herself, she's exuding positive energy,
and you
and
didn't
I
like
just
her.
wanted, just dampen that positive energy around her because I was jealous.
And that's what
Forget
she's
anything
doing.
else, right? Facebook,
Yeah,
social media, especially
totally,
Facebook.
totally.
I
How
so
people
many
portray.
people who go out there and they're posting, oh, people are this, people are that. I feel forget how different people are. I mean, don't give a damn about how other people are. Just focus. If you need to walk away from other people, walk away from other people. But you know
Right.
what? Focus on yourself.
I can tell you this. I can tell you in my life, there have been times when I have seen others, let's just say on Facebook. And my go-to coping is just to not look at it because I don't like that feeling of
Yes.
comparison. But I can tell you that in the times when I've been stronger in my life and really looking at myself and being my best, most authentic self, I'm so happy for people that are happy. And that's the difference. When you can say, she looks great. Look at all the work she's doing. She looks amazing. She has regular clothes on, but it doesn't matter because she exudes all this energy and happiness, right? If you're able to say that and mean that and feel that in your heart, then you're doing the work. So that's first thing. But how do you get to that where you can, to answer your original question, how do you even get to that point? I would suggest if you were a client and we were talking about this, I would suggest writing. I would say take 15 minutes, it doesn't have to be 15, but take 10 minutes in the morning and take 10 minutes before bed. Before you even look at your phone, before you even get up to go to the bathroom, anything, write, freehand write. And this isn't for anyone else to see. Don't type it. Write it out in a notebook. Doesn't need to be edited. No one's reading this except for you. There is something so cathartic about stuff going from your brain to your hand to a pad of paper. When you can write your feelings, just the way you just described that, but written out, those steps, it comes through your heart. And then you can look back and you can say, oh, I was feeling jealous that day. I don't like that me. How can I be a better version of me? What do I need to work on? So I'm happy for Sheila because she looks so great and is feeling so great and is that a friend, a good person? Then I want to be happy for that person. And I want to be my best self. So I need to look inward. And how do I look inward? I write, I journal, I make gratitude lists. And I don't mean like my children's health. Obviously like we're grateful for those big overarching things, right? Our parents' health, our children's, and that's fine. But I'm talking about like that I belly laughed today. Like those moments that you can grasp onto.
Significant, priceless moments.
Those moments that you can't even get back. And in that moment, you just had happiness and you just felt content. Because I am a strong believer, and this is for another podcast, but I'm a strong believer that there's no like state of happiness. I'm a believer that there's moments and blips of happiness. And if we can grab onto them and capture them, then we can have a content and happy life. But there's no like, I'm just happy all the time, because there's just, that's not life.
Right? Not to be happy all the time, just to accept it.
Right. I said to a friend one time, if you're happy all the time, if someone's happy all the time, they're on drugs. Like there's not a state of mind that's blissful all the time. Maybe like Buddhists. I mean, I don't know, but I'm not that person. So what I know is I have moments that I can treasure. I have a mason jar of moments of things my children have said and little things that they've done. And I write them on a note and I stick them in the mason jar to look at years later. Oh, I didn't know. Hi, Mike. I didn't know that that this was, it is live. Of course, if other people are watching. I was thinking it was being recorded. So he's so sweet.
Thank you, Mike.
Thank you. So, I have that because I believe that you have to, you want to go back and be able to see those moments when you're having a time when you're not having a lot of moments. So I think that it's important to reflect, and that's what the journaling does. And whenever I'm down, and also when I'm up, I write. And that's my suggestion to anyone watching that doesn't know where to start. It's just write. Just write on it. It's like an unbelievably cathartic experience. Do that for a week and then call me. And let's reflect on that week of writing. I mean, that's the first thing I would say to a client. I wouldn't even charge a client for that information. I would say, like, this is what just go do that. And then let's reconnect in a week. Do that every day for 15 minutes in the morning and 15 minutes at night. And I'm telling you, there will be a shift in your perspective. And if you can, that's how you find your true self. That's how you find your authentic person that you're trying to be. That's where you find your purpose and your meaning in life.
Wow. Yeah.
Living with Annietude.
That aha moment, right? Where there's silence. You're like, oh.
And people say, like, I'm not a writer. You know, I don't want to journal. Or guys, well, a lot of men will say to me, like, I don't want to journal. You know, I'm a guy. Like, I don't journal. And I've had clients and friends say to me in the past, like, that changed my actual life doing that exercise. That's a practice. That's a routine. That's something that you do in your life every day. And then you get to, your brain starts to retrain itself and reprogram, and the mindset starts to change because you're looking at yourself. You're not just in your head. When we're stuck in here, that's where we get all messed up. But when we put it out on paper, and then we can look back, oh man, 2 weeks ago, I was just in a spot. And now look where I am. And then you see your progress, and you're going to have ups and downs, and that's okay. But you know what you can look at? I came out of it. Just like I said to you, every day until right now, you've survived. The hardest day of your life where you thought everything was awful and everything was bad and nothing would ever, these are the things that have gone on in my head. I'm never, ever going to be happy again. This is the worst day of my life. You think I'm kind of extreme, dramatic? This is awful. Nothing is worse. My life is terrible, right? I'm here right now to tell you my life is not terrible and that things are really good. Not every minute of every day. Even earlier today, I was not in a good state of mind. I did not have a good Annietude at all. And I wrote, and I'm going to give like a plug right now. Like, I listened to my own podcast. And I have to tell you that I have some that are just audio, and then I have some that are, and when I do that, and Mike actually suggests that to me sometimes, when I do that and I hear myself, I see where I was when I did the podcast, and I say, sometimes, like, for a quick blip, I'm like, she really knows what she's talking about. And then I realize it's me. Wait, I know my stuff. You know, and it's just really just cathartic that every day we are just practicing. We're just here. We're just here.
Annie, follow your own advice.
I'm like, she should like make a business out of this. Wait a minute, I did. You know, and then I go to my own website. No, I'm just kidding. But you know, it's just it's so funny. Like it's almost 10 till 5, and you and I were like, how long's the show? We might not have enough to talk about. In like a blip of a minute, we have talked about
chatting and laughing and just having a good time. And I think that we need to do this again in a few weeks. And next time we also bring Mike on with us.
We have to bring Mike. Is great. We will bring him on too, and he will bring a ton of knowledge and wisdom, as he always does. And you should also come and be a guest on my podcast if you would.
Absolutely.
Let's talk. I'm going to put you on the spot and ask you all these hard questions and see what you have to say. But luckily, truth of the matter is, luckily I live and breathe this. So I have the answers because it's my truth and it's what I live every day, right? So if anybody wants to, shameless plug now, if anybody wants to learn more about my business, or if you need help in a way and I can help you, please take a look at my website. It's annieleib.com. So it's ANNIELEIB as in boy.com. You can go to my website and learn all about me, what I've done, what I'm doing, my blog, podcasts, and all that fun stuff.
So Annie, let's also, okay, so we have, what if people say good on your face and show they are your best friend, but in real life they are backstabbing you? What's your feedback
Just
on
like
that?
slap them really hard. No, no, don't do that. But no, do not physically attack anyone. I would have a lot of questions to ask about that. The first thing I would ask is, why is this person in your life? So is this somebody, some people have.
So will you repeat your answer again?
Oh, I said that there's a lot of things that I would ask this person that's asking this question. So the first thing that I would ask would be, why is this person in your life? Now, sometimes people have, a sister like that, or somebody that they have to be around all the time. And then I would start to look inward at the kind of boundaries that I had. Am I putting up the right boundaries so that I'm protected against this person that obviously has some issues? Have we communicated? Have we talked? Do we have open communication? There's a lot of different things I would say to that, but really look at yourself and start to understand that that person is their own worst enemy. And it's not about you. They're acting that way and it's about them. So again, turn around that lens. What?
And that's the truth. How other people behave doesn't have to do with you. It has to do with whatever it is that's building up inside of them.
Exactly. And somebody
what other people do when it's happening, when someone is throwing their attitude and they are treating you with wrath,
and
they're
makes you feel horrible, but it's about them. And that's a very hard place to get to. But my first thing would be like, sit down and have a talk. Talk about it. Maybe there's things that you don't realize that you're doing. Maybe there's responsibility that you can take. If somebody's just an all-out bad person, I would try to cut them out of your life. But if there's any way that you can look internally and see what your contribution is to the issue, are you really being honest with yourself? Are you just this peachy person and that person is just being two-faced and horrible? Then I would say you got to cut the cord. But at first, take a look at yourself and what are you contributing to the situation? So look at that and have a talk with the person. Give them the benefit of the doubt.
And if you reach that point, maybe even change your tribe. I do strongly.
Who are you surrounding yourself with?
So Annie, I do strongly feel that so much of this is also about our energy within us. Mm-hmm. Sometimes whatever it is, something in our psyche, something that I know that I've actually spent, I feel, a very difficult decade. And my decade had to do with different things, one after another, things that kept on going wrong, and it kept on impacting my energy. And I hit a very low point, which was around 2.5 years back, when I felt it wasn't my rock bottom, because my rock bottom actually happened last year. Just when I was trying to turn things around, that's when my rock bottom happened. Mm-hmm. But I do feel that when I hit that point around 2.5 years ago, I was like, I had to change my mindset, and I had to change my energy. I had to just get out of that shroud of energy where everything seemed to be going wrong.
Well, that's your mindset. So that was you needed to reprogram.
And that's what it was attracting. Everything that I was attracting was going wrong. So right. Was negative, work-wise,
And then it makes your mindset negative, and then you're attracting more negative, and it's an endless cycle.
It's right? An endless cycle.
You can't get out of it until you realize that's what's going on.
Until something drastic. For me, it was that turning point happened last year when I literally got up and I was like, and for me, my traveling is such a big detox. Mm-hmm. And that's literally first time I did a solo trip. I was like, you know what? I need to get out of my environment. I need to get out so my brain can breathe. And that was my turning point, and I went on a solo trip. I went to Egypt, and I traveled through Egypt by myself.
That's incredible. Talk about courageous.
It was just, you know what? You learned to trust strangers, and that's what you did. You trusted strangers.
What you actually did was you learned to trust yourself.
Yeah.
That's what you did. You didn't realize that you could trust yourself and go, I have to go with someone else. I can't go by myself. What would I do? And look what you did. You trusted yourself, and you had the courage and the bravery to do that. And that's incredible. Turned your entire life around. It was transformative.
It was. When I was interviewed last week, I said, I opened up to a lot more things than I usually do. I was telling Kelly that, when people look at my Facebook profile picture, and it's that, I did travel with that dress because I did want to do a photo shoot in Cairo, in front of the pyramids, and they see that, and it gives an impression that, wow, it's larger than life, a lifestyle, but that's not what it is. For me, it was a turning point. It was just needing to shake myself and my thoughts and find myself, and literally that's what happened. I rediscovered myself, and I found myself and my inner strength. And for me, 2020, regardless of COVID and regardless of all the difficulties that 2020 has brought for people, for me, 2020 has brought change.
Yes.
It's brought, I've been educating and learning and growing myself for the past 2 years. For me, 2020 brought execution, started delivering what I had learned.
That's amazing. And I have to tell you something that and I know we don't have a ton of time left, but something that I noted when you were talking was you said, this gives off this impression. I have to tell you that if I saw your picture, I don't care where you were standing in front of, I would look in your eyes and I would see you. So the narrative in your mind and the story that you're telling yourself this is what it gives off to people. Did everyone that has seen that picture say to you, this is what it gives off? No. You have created that narrative in your mind. It's not that, and you're qualifying. It's not that. It's actually a turning point, and it's a change. And you did an incredible thing. You changed your life. You transformed. You went through a transformative experience when you went there. You should say that and show that proudly. And whatever anybody thinks or forms some opinion, it's not even that it doesn't matter, but it's not the truth. Because the only one that knows the truth is you. Yeah. So if you are giving your authentic self to the world, then I would see that if I saw that picture, but that's because I'm living my authentic self as my authentic self. But if I were in a space where I was jealous and, oh, look at her, whatever, but that's about me. So it doesn't matter, not because, oh, who cares what people think, but it doesn't matter because you are true to yourself. You know exactly where you were at that time and what a turning point that was. So know that. Feel that in your heart and soul. You don't need to explain it to me or anybody. You can certainly tell the story, but you don't need to explain or qualify to anybody. Yeah. That's your picture, and that's what you put out to the world.
But what I do want people who are watching, what I do want them to know is that it's not just what appears on the outside.
Yes.
There are so many things which are happening in the background which are not visible on the forefront.
Absolutely.
And that is what I want people to know, people who are going through difficulties and fighting hardships and marriages and, children go through difficult times. I just want them to know that everyone is fighting battles that no one else knows anything.
Everyone is fighting. That's why you can't take it personally when somebody's not nice. I mean, it's just, you have to just be okay with you. And if you're having trouble being okay with you, call me, reach out to me. I will help you.
And Annie, we are on our last minute, and I don't know where time went, and I'm going to let you share information about yourself in this last minute of the show. Where people can find you and
absolutely
your website.
You can find me on LinkedIn. I'm on Annie Leib, and it's Leib. And you can find me on YouTube, the Living with Annietude podcast. And you can go to my website, annieleib.com. Very easy, ANNIELEIB.com. I am here to help you and to help you heal, and we can do it together. And so, you are such a beautiful person. I feel so empowered after talking to you. I really do. This was really enjoyable for me.
Thank you. And likewise. And I think on that note, I would just like to thank everyone for watching Heart to Heart with Saima. And if you feel that the content is something that might help a friend, or that might give someone courage to confront their fears and give them, hope, please share, hit the share button and share the broadcast with people that you know. This is Saima Dillon. You are welcome to follow me on Women of Noor, or on Saima Dillon Real Estate Group, or on YouTube, because the live streaming does happen. It feeds into multiple places. Thank you again for watching. We'll looking forward to seeing you again next Tuesday at 4 p.m. Central Time. I hope you all stay safe and you all have a fabulous day, week, year. Thank you for watching.